be successful. For all of your shipping needs, call Pack Mail, and to tell the Ocala area about your business, call WOCA, because WOCA radio gets results.
Are you worried about our outdoor heritage, clean drinking water, and a place where future generations can enjoy wildlife? Attend a local Ducks Unlimited event. A good time for a great cause with people just like you.
Join us for the Ocala Ducks Unlimited Dinner, catered by the Texas Cattle Company, on Friday, March 6th at the Southeastern Livestock Pavilion. For tickets, call Russ Moore at 352-804-3577. That's 352-804-3577.
It's here, Ocala, a truckload sale of roses at Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens. You got great selection, super low prices. Bob has Easy Care knockout roses in double red and double pink, just $17.99. Easy Care drift roses, huge selection of colors, just $17.99. And of course, his famous fragrant hybrid and tea roses, super low, $32.99. That's just the beginning. Geraniums have arrived. They're regularly $2.99, but you get 10 for just $19.99. And you've got to check out that great new selection of clay bowl planters. They're 13 inches big. You'd expect to pay $12.99, but thanks to a special purchase, they're just $5.99. It's always tree planting time, and that means you can buy one large tree for just $49.99 and get a second one for half price. So check the ad and get on over to Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens on Southeast 38th Street, Ocala, open daily till 4:30 in the same blooming place since 1952.
Ah, the joys of flying from a major hub.
Come on, guys, we gotta go.
Wait, honey, but our flight doesn't leave for 5 hours.
I know, but traffic could be bad. Then there's trying to find a parking spot, then the mile walk to check in, and of course security could take a while.
Skip the circus and fly regional. From parking to boarding and everything in between, it's just better.
Gainesville Regional Airport, now boarding with over 343 destinations in one stop. Non-stop service to Dallas, Fort Worth, Atlanta, Charlotte, and Miami. Fly with us. You'll be glad you did. For more information, visit flygainesville.com.
The largest aerospace expo in the South, Sun and Fun, returns to the skies of Lakeland March 31st through April 5th. It's not just an air show, it's everything aviation in 2020. Walk among hundreds of aircraft and be amazed at air shows with breathtaking aerobatic displays by the world's top pilots. See mighty warbirds in flight, from vintage bombers to modern fighter jets, and feel the heat of a 1,000-foot wall of fire. Plus, new for 2020, our STEM-tastic pavilion with dozens of interactive activities for all ages. Oh, and let's not forget the precision flying of the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds. Take advantage of the Florida Resident Weekend Special, Saturday, April 4th and Sunday, April 5th, and get 3 shows for the price of 1. Come Saturday, stay for the night air show with its amazing Star Dance Spectacular Drone Light Show, aerobatic flyers, plus a fireworks display. Then return Sunday for an additional show for free. Children under 10 are free, so make plans to bring the whole family and experience the past, present, and future of aviation at the Sun and Fun Aerospace Expo. Visit us at flysnf.org.
But our flight doesn't leave for 5 hours.
Traffic could be bad. Trying to find a parking spot, then the mile walk here could take a while.
From parking to boarding and everything in between, it's just better.
Gainesville Regional Airport.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
And good morning. You're listening to AM Ocala Live on WOCA, The Source. It is time for News Bits, bits of news that you can chew. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday for the 28th of February. One more day to go tomorrow, and then we're into March. News Bits here out of Ocala. A woman jailed after returning to Ocala Mini Mart where she wasn't welcome. A 44-year-old woman was arrested Sunday in an Ocala Mini Mart where she wasn't welcome. An Ocala police officer responded to the Racetrack gas station at 15 South Pine Avenue after being told the Brenda Elaine Cruz was inside and had been trespassed from the store in the past. Employees said Cruz was in the bathroom and provided officers with the previous trespass warning she had been issued on December 27th. Officers then spoke with Cruz, and she confirmed that she had been, and confirmed she had been trespassing from the mini mart in December. She was placed under arrest and transported to the Marion County Jail, where she was charged with trespassing after the warning and was being held on a $100 bond. Crew is due to be in court March 20th at 9 a.m. to answer to the charge. This one also out of Ocala. Here it is. Marion detectives seek help in locating person of interest in a fatal Bellevue shooting. Marion County Sheriff's Office is asking for the public's help in locating a person of interest in a recent fatal shooting in Bellevue. Sheriff detectives are searching for 28-year-old Rennie Nadal, who is wanted on an outstanding warrant for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. They also want to talk to him about the February 14th shooting in the 4400 block of Southeast 105th Street that left 32-year-old Charles Brady dead. Nadal had had numerous previous arrests and convictions. He has faced charges of dealing in stolen property, displaying a firearm during the commission of a felony, shooting into a building, aggravated battery, and attempted armed burglary, to name a few. In fact, over the past 8 years, he has been arrested several times on 20 different criminal charges. Anyone with information about Nadal and his whereabouts is asked to call 911. Those wishing to remain anonymous can contact Crime Stoppers of Marion County, 352-368-STOP, 352-368-7867. The tips can also be submitted at OcalaCrimeStoppers.com. And remember, if this leads to an arrest, there could be a reward. For Crime Stoppers, please reference 2011 in your tip. So with that in Ocala. Another one here out of Ocala. It says, violent tiff after lady friend checks cell phone leaves Silver Springs man in jail. Uh-oh, fellas. Silver Springs man was jailed Tuesday after a nasty battle with his lady friend when she attempted to go through his cell phone. Deputies responded to the parking lot of Fire Rock Irish Pub to speak with the woman, a 25-year-old Erin J. Markin. She said she tried to look through Markin's phone when he came upset, grabbed her by the arms, shoved her against the wall, and then to the ground. She claimed he then held a knife to his own chest and drew blood, the report says. Deputies noted fresh blood coming from the woman's elbow and several small bruises on her arm. She also claimed that Markin had dumped a container of bleach on her, and she had punched him several times to get away, the report says, adding the deputies smelled bleach on the woman's clothing. Markin told deputies that he got upset because the woman tried to look through his cell phone. He admitted to grabbing her by the arms, wrestling the phone away from her, and shoving against the wall. Markin initially claimed the woman struck the knife to his chest and hit him in the head with a frying pan, but later admitted to sticking himself with the knife and punching himself in the head while standing in the driveway. He also claimed that the woman had chased him in her vehicle at the pub, which wasn't yet open for the day. Markin was then taken into custody and transported to Marion County Jail, where he was charged with domestic battery and contempt of court on past charges of driving with license suspended or revoked and no or improper endorsement of his driver's license. He's due in court March 20th and March 25th to answer to the charges. Interesting stuff there out of Ocala. Some national news, or still local, that made national news was the idea that we talked about a little bit earlier in lieu of the ride here in Orlando's Disney World theme park of the Jungle Cruise that was taken on water, as reported in the Rip and Read that we talked about earlier today. The Jungle Cruise boat that sinks here in Disney World. Disney World Jungle Cruise boat full of passengers sinks, and hilarious reactions ensue. Thankfully, the angry hippos aren't real. Disney World's Jungle Cruise ride, which takes passengers on a gentle tour through a river filled with robot animals, went awry on Thursday when a boat full of passengers sank into the shallow, murky water. Though Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who is starring in the upcoming adventure film inspired by the ride, wasn't there to leap to the rescue, Florida's Reedy Creek Fire Department responded to the event instead. Disney World representatives confirmed to USA Today every passenger exited the boat safely, and park officials worked to help wet guests enjoy the rest of their day. Later that day, a passenger aboard the sinking vessel posted photos of the mayhem to his unverified Twitter account. Quote, "Our boat on the Jungle Cruise sank today," the user wrote, adding a picture of the passenger's feet underwater. "Fun times," end quote, as the picture of the man standing has ankle-high water, as it didn't get anything higher than their ankles. "Our skipper was awesome, used a radio to get help, and we did not have wet feet or wet clothes for very long," the user continued. "I can rest easy being part of the best Disney metaphor of all time." It wasn't long before jokes about the sinking started to come to surface. Imagine being a casual tourist on a Jungle Cruise boat and it just straight up sinks. And you don't know if that's part of the ride or not. And that's what I was wondering too. That's not part of the ride, is it? But then again, walking around with wet shoes, God, I hope so not, right? God, I hope the Jungle Cruise skipper hammed it up while guests were being evacuated, he wrote. "Well, if it isn't a perfect metaphor for my life, you're all leaving and I'm left sinking." So some crazy stuff out of our backyard there with Disney World and the Jungle Cruise now made national news about its somewhat sinking with ankle-high deep water. As we're rolling through here, as we're doing news bits, we'll come to the top of the hour. We'll have Martin Suter in the studio to do a little bit of talk on technology and what's going on. In lieu of the idea of technology, we were talking this morning about some science come out here with the mini moon. Quote, "Mini moon, the size of a car, discovered orbiting Earth, but it won't be there for long. After billions of years, it looks like the moon found some temporary company, our moon, found some temporary company in the form of a mini moon that recently entered the Earth's orbit. The discovery was made the night of February 15th by senior research specialist Casper Wierkos and the research specialist Theodore Priyun, both with the Catalina Sky Survey at the University of Arizona College of Science. Wierkos tweeted enthusiastically Tuesday that the, quote, mini moon, which is called 2020 CD3, and out of the nearly 1 million known asteroids, it's the second known asteroid in history to orbit the Earth. The first was called 2006 RH120 and was also discovered by the Catalina Sky Survey. The, quote, mini moon is about 6 to 11 feet across and entered the Earth's orbit about 3 years ago, Wierkos said in his tweet. For comparison, the moon has a radius of 2,150.8 miles, according to NASA. The International Astronomical Union's Minor Planet Center cataloged the asteroid Tuesday, where it says that the object is temporarily bound to Earth and that no link to a known artificial object has been yet found. I put that in there, the yet found. Derek Buzazzi, professor of the physics at the Florida Gulf Coast University, said he doesn't expect the refrigerator-sized asteroid to stay in the Earth's orbit for very much longer, other than a month or two. However, he's excited about the discovery as it could mean big things for astronomers in the future. Quote, "We know this happens all the time, but finding them is very, very hard," he said. Quote, "It's a reminder that something the size can get close to us, and it's worthwhile to invest the relatively small amount of money to find them." What I think is incredible about that, I just wanted to throw at Martin when he comes in, is imagine the technology that we have now to be able to spot something that's orbiting the Earth that's no bigger than a car or a refrigerator. I think that's absolutely incredible. So that makes you feel better about when we talk about those satellites going up to space in lieu of communication, just with all that so-called space junk that could be up there, that they must have a pretty good number on it as far as what could go on up there, considering the technology that they found in orbit of a small rock that's no bigger than a car. That makes you feel a little bit better nonetheless. Interesting. Now with news bits as we continue here, a few birthdays to mention. And I want to take this time, too. I wanted to give it a shout-out to birthdays this week. In lieu of what I do on the show, there's a couple friends of mine that I'm going to tell about this later that may or may not be listening. But this week, I want to give a shout-out to my buddy and his birthday, Alan Buskirk, and his wife, who had just had one, too, Emily Buskirk. And I want to give a shout-out to my buddy from Ecuador. He's down there now and was my roommate for years, Mr. Omar Barba. Happy birthday to those guys. Their birthdays were this week, and they're friends of mine, and I figured when I got the platform, why not shell them out there, considering I did not message them on social media. I forgot to. As we talk about birthdays, another year older, Gilbert Godfrey. Those who don't know Gilbert Godfrey, for a while was the voice of the Aflac Duck with that crazy voice and has sometimes done the roasts. That man is 65 years old today, as well as John Totiro, 63, not sure who that is. Tasha Smith is 49, and Melanie Chandra is 36. There's some interesting news here. We were talking about... I think we mentioned that last week, that Dunkin' Donuts is looking at selling bags of bacon. That's interesting. I got to find out more about that. We reported on that something there not long ago. I'm going to look into that. Not much to read from it. I'm going to find out more information. Anyway, your brain recognizes familiar music in no time. How long does it take for you to recognize your favorite song when it comes on the radio? A study at the University College of London finds that the brain is capable of recognizing familiar music in an incredibly short amount of time. Within 1/10 of a second of the note song of your favorite being played, you and your brain can tell what it is. It makes you think of that, what was it, Name That Tune. And within that tune, some people within a few notes can memorize the song, and that's their brain telling them what it is. It's amazing that it doesn't take long at all. Now, that's the idea of sound, and I was just having a conversation with somebody the other day about the idea of how powerful the memory is also with smell. And that was an interesting conversation, too, because when you think about how things in your life can change as you grow up and your perception of the world changes, because as you get bigger, certain things and perceptions that you see may become smaller or maybe change in the vantage point or perspective just because as you get older and what you know and your knowledge gained. However, something like smell really takes you back. 81-year-old man posts simple cooking videos on TikTok. The internet needs more good old wholesome content, and one is 81-year-old man on TikTok is here to give us just that. With the simple cooking videos, he's titled Cooking with Steve. The TikTok star shows viewers everything from how to make pancakes to pour cereal. Stephen Austin of Fort Worth, Texas, is the man behind the videos posted under the name Old Man Steve, showing millennials what it takes to pour a bowl of cereal and cook an egg. Wacky but true, in lieu of cereal and eggs. Woman eating breakfast while driving. Highway patrol officers in Australia caught a woman eating breakfast while she was driving. Officers observed the woman steering with her knees while holding a plate in one hand and a fork in the other while eating eggs, bacon, and pancakes. You can believe that. Crazy. This Sunday, as we come into Sunday beginning of March 2020, and is the last day of the Ocala RV show, Sunday is Peanut Butter Lovers Day. It takes about 550 peanuts to make a 12-ounce jar of creamy peanut butter. Interesting. With peanuts, I'm a fan of creamy peanut butter, but I'm also a fan of chunky peanut butter, and I'm a fan of extreme chunky peanut butter. And a good old joke used to be, you've got extreme chunky, which you open up the jar, it's just peanuts. Try spreading that. It is radical. Wow, this is radical. 550 peanuts to make a 12-ounce jar of peanut butter. Also makes me think of boiled peanuts. I love boiled peanuts ever since being here in the South. I love boiled peanuts. In theaters this week, The Invisible Man will be looking to debut at number 1 and should bring in with a projected $28 million. And opening next week, it's a movie Onward, The Way Back, rated R, and Emma. The movie trailer for The Invisible Man does look intense, looks pretty good. And I think it's an interpretation of the Invisible Man that was done like 80-something years ago, and the idea of taking chemicals or something to become invisible and then goes insane. This is on the idea of something of an abusive relationship where he tries to stalk her as becoming invisible, and she looks to be the one that goes insane. So The Invisible Man, debuting at number 1, should bring in $28 million. That one actually looks pretty good. That might be one worth going. As it does get cold this weekend in the evenings, maybe a movie isn't a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all. Alrighty. So as we're moving through news bits, we're coming close to the top of the 9 o'clock hour on this Friday, February 28th. And as we round it out, just some interesting facts that had taken place on this day in history. And it says here, this was interesting. In 1954, on this day, the United States performs atmospheric nuclear test at Bikini Island. Crazy, crazy. On this day in history, in 1961, JFK names Henry Kissinger his special advisor. This one was a pretty good here. 1967, a little NBA history. On this day in 1967, Wilt Chamberlain sinks an NBA record 35th consecutive field goal. Had not missed for 35 shots in a row. On this date, in 1971, PGA Championships Men's Golf, PGA National East, Jack Nicklaus leads wire-to-wire for his second career Grand Slam and wins by 2 from Billy Casper. And with that being said, too, we've got the Honda Classic as we've now approached the Florida swing for the golf season, for the PGA Tour. The Honda Classic, Palm Gardens, Florida, as then next week leads into the Bay Hill Invitational, Arnold Palmer's tournament in Orlando. And then after that, we have the TPC at Sawgrass in Jacksonville. And then from there, we move to Tampa with the Innisbrook Valspar Championships. So it is time for the Florida swing with golf. This one is a good one. In 1983, in this day in history, the final TV episode of MASH aired on CBS with a record 125 million that had watched in the U.S. Wow, 1983. That was the last episode of MASH. I always remember that as a kid growing up. So many people told me I'd always seen the syndications and everything, but man, good stuff. You're listening to WOCA Ocala, 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, The Source, and we'll be back after this.
Fox News, I'm Lillian Wu. Democratic presidential hopefuls down to their last day before the South Carolina primary. The Emerson poll showing Joe Biden topping Senator Bernie Sanders by 16%. There's a narrower lead for the former vice president in a different poll.
The Post and Courier poll, Biden 28%, Sanders 24%, followed by Steyer 16%, Warren 12%, Buttigieg 11%.
Fox's Griff Jenkins. Stocks around the world dropping on continued fears about the coronavirus. Here at home, a call for more supplies.
Florida officials have yet to announce a case of coronavirus, but Governor Ron DeSantis says they have test kits where samples can be sent to the CDC lab.
Eventually, those tests will be able to be conducted in Florida.
Whereas California Governor Gavin Newsom wants more test kits in light of a locally transmitted case popping up.
Fox's Evan Brown, more than 8,000 people being monitored for the virus in California. America's listening to Fox News.
Democracy 2020 coverage continues this election season on the Fox News Podcast Network.
We have the best economy we've ever had. With your help on November 3rd, we are going to defeat the the radical socialist Democrats.
Subscribe and download now from Washington. The latest news from the nation's capital.
This victory here is the beginning of the end for Donald Trump.
Dana Perino and Chris Steyerwalt with I'll Tell You What has you covered. Who's leading, who's trailing, who's right, and who's wrong.
Thanks to you, a campaign that some said shouldn't be here at all has shown that we are here to stay.
Hit the trails with Brent Baer as the candidates take it to the streets. It's the campaign with Brent Baer.
I offer a record of getting things done.
And each morning, the Fox News Rundown takes you beyond the headlines on Democracy 2020. Subscribe, download, listen, stay informed at foxnewspodcasts.com.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
We are proud to announce the Conservative Watch Hour on WOCA 96.3 FM and 1370 AM every Friday at 11 a.m. Hosted by Annie Marie Delgado, president of Trump Team 2020 Florida, and her co-host Ann Vandersteel with SteelTruth.com. We are serving a higher level of excellence, and we are the only program of this type in this market. Don't miss your weekly dose of conservative talk radio. WOCA 11 a.m. Fridays, 96.3 and 1370 a.m.
The Ocala RV Show is